Crowds erupt. Traoré disrupts Gabon's presidential inauguration in electrifying show of defiance. By Africa Focus Weekly, May 8, 2025. In a move that has shocked African political circles and captivated global media, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the military leader of Burkina Faso, made an unannounced and incendiary appearance at Gabon's presidential inauguration ceremony, throwing the high-profile event into complete disarray and igniting a wave of protest and populist excitement across Libreville. Traoré's bold intervention not only hijacked the narrative of the day but symbolized a growing confrontation between Africa's old political dynasties and a new generation of anti-colonial, military-backed leaders. A ceremony interrupted. On the morning of May 8, dignitaries, foreign ambassadors, and national elites gathered at the presidential palace in Libreville to witness the formal inauguration of Gabon's new president, Jean-René Bongo, a political figure viewed by many as a continuity candidate from the long-dominant Bongo family. Just as Bongo stepped up to take the oath, Captain Traoré and a delegation of uniformed Sahel officers entered the venue, flanked by Burkinabé and Malian flags. The audience gasped as Traoré, without protocol or invitation, ascended the stage and seized the microphone. "Greater than, you claim a new beginning," Traoré boomed, "but this is merely a recycled past, dressed in new robes. The people of Africa will no longer applaud their own chains." The crowd reacts. What began in stunned silence quickly transformed into a groundswell of chants, whistles, and raised fists. A sizable portion of the crowd, particularly youth groups and civil society members, erupted in support, shouting, "Greater than, Traoré, liberature. Down with neo-colonial puppets." Security forces appeared divided. Some stood motionless, others quietly ushered foreign dignitaries out of the room. Bongo's entourage attempted to maintain composure, but the symbolic power of the moment had already consumed the event. A statement heard around Africa. Traoré's message was as unambiguous as it was confrontational. "Greater than, to the people of Gabon, you are not alone," he declared. Burkina Faso stands with every African nation seeking true independence, not just from colonizers of the past, but from traitors of today. The televised broadcast was cut mid-speech, but the footage, already captured on smartphones, quickly flooded social media across Francophone Africa. Aftermath and global fallout. By the evening, protests erupted across Libreville, with demonstrators demanding the annulment of the inauguration and calling for a referendum. Police clashed with protesters in some districts, while in others, military officers were seen standing by without interference. Gabon's government issued a scathing response. "Greater than, this was not a gesture of solidarity, it was an act of aggression and sabotage against our nation's sovereignty." In contrast, pro-Traoré sentiment surged online, with the hashtag #AfricaReclaimsAfrica trending across platforms in Mali, Niger, Guinea, and even Cameroon. The bigger picture. Pan-African disruption. Analysts are calling this more than a political stunt. They see it as a strategic escalation of a broader movement led by the Sahel Military Alliance, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. These states have vocally rejected Western influence, ECOWAS authority, and traditional power structures. "Greater than, what Traoré did in Gabon wasn't just a protest," said Dr. Binta Sangare, a West African political scientist. "It was a shot across the bow, a declaration that the post-independence order is collapsing, and a new model is being asserted." International reactions. France condemned the disruption, calling it a dangerous flirtation with authoritarian populism. Russia and China withheld comment but are believed to be watching the developments with interest. The African Union called for an emergency summit, though some members, including Guinea and Mali, signaled support for Traoré's message. What's next for Gabon and Africa? President Jean-René Bongo completed a private swearing-in under heavy security, but his authority now appears fragile and contested. Meanwhile, whispers of a Pan-African Popular Assembly, led by military governments and grassroots leaders, have begun circulating in Ouagadougou and Bamako. Whether Traoré's act will be seen as a historic turning point or reckless grandstanding remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Africa's power balance is shifting, and Captain Ibrahim Traoré is determined to be at the center of that transformation. "This is no longer about borders," said one protester outside the Gabonese parliament. "This is about liberation, and it's just beginning."